Hi, my name is William Sutherland, and in this video I'm going to show you how to import a class roster from the website Engrade into the Smart Response Teacher Tools. I'm using Windows 7 and I'm using Internet Explorer 8, so your computer may look a little different than this, but the steps should be pretty similar. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up Internet Explorer, and I'm going to get logged into Engrade. So I'm going to go to www.engrade.com. I'm going to go to log in. I'm going to use my username and password, which my computer has saved. And here we go. So this shows you I've got a bunch of active classes during this grading period. And then I actually created this class right down here. It's called Smart Response Training. It's just a pretend class that I made up for this video. So I'm going to open that class, and when I do, you'll see I've got 9 fake students. So student number 1, student number 2, student number 3. They have their own student IDs, and if they were real, they'd have grades. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import the student names and the IDs into Teacher Tools so that I can capture grades with Teacher Tools. How I do that is by going down to the bottom of the web page where it says Grade Settings, New Grading Period, and then there's this drop-down menu that says Print. I'm going to drop that menu down and I'm going to say Export Gradebook. Then it says this thing up at the top. It says, to help protect your security, Internet Explorer blocked the site from downloading files to your computer. You want to left-click on that. In this pop-up, you want to say Download File. That's going to refresh the page. So now you have to go back and do it again. Back down to the bottom, back where it says Print, drop it down, say Export Gradebook. This time when you click it, it gives you this pop-up. Do you want to open or save this file? We want to open it. That's going to start up Excel. I'm using Excel 2007, so again, yours might look a little different, but it should be about the same. And here's what we've got. We've got a heading at the top that shows us what class it is. And then we've got 5 columns: first, last, ID, grade, and percent. Teacher Tools will only import the first name, the last name, and the student ID. So first thing, we're going to get rid of that heading. Select it all and press delete. Second thing, we're going to get rid of the columns grade and percent. So select them all, press delete. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the column headings to the column headings that are required by Teacher Tools. The first name has to be named first name. The last name also has to be named last name. And then we'll go over and select ID. This one has to be called Student ID. Otherwise, Teacher Tools won't recognize them correctly. Now we need to save this. So we're going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to say Save As. And I'm just going to go to my desktop, because that's the easiest place to put it. I'm going to select the desktop. I'm going to give it a file name of temp for temporary, because I don't need it after this. I only need it for about a split second. And it says Save As Type CSV, comma, delimited. Yes, I want to save it as a CSV file type. It's the easiest way to get it into Teacher Tools. So I've got all that set. I'm going to say Save. Oh boy, it's mad at me. Temp.csv may contain features that are not compatible. Do you want to keep it in this format? Yes, I do. Now we're saved. Now I can close Excel. Do you want to save changes? I haven't made any changes. No. All right. I can also go ahead and close Internet Explorer. I don't need that either. Now I need to start up Teacher Tools so I can do the import. So I'm going to go to All Programs. I'm going to scroll down to where I find Smart Technologies, Smart Response, and Teacher Tools. If you can't find the Teacher Tools, that probably means you don't have the Smart Response software installed yet. So you'll have to talk to your technology coordinator about getting the software installed on your computer. Takes it a minute to load up every time. Once it does, you'll see a gradebook, and here's a list of classes. All those classes that you saw in my Engrade are all here. But I need to start a new one for that Smart Response class. So what I'm going to do, there's 2 ways to do it. I can click here and say add a class, or there's a button under next steps that also says add a class. Doesn't matter which one you use. So I'm going to use this one over here, add a class. Then it says class information. Create class list to save assessment results and track performance. So I'm going to give it a class name. It was called, in Engrade, it was called my Smart Response class. We'll call it period 8 because we don't have a period 8. And location at Thompson, which is the school where I teach. And then I'm just going to come down here and click add. And that adds the class to my grade book. You can see it's right here now. But if you go to the Students tab, currently there are no students. So what I'm going to do is on the Students tab, I'm going to come down to Next Steps, and I'm going to say Add Students to your class. When I click that, I get this pop-up. Import students into. Which class do I want to import students into? I want to import them into the Smart Response class. I hit Next. Import from. Aha. Comma separated values. That CSV file that we created. You want to use that CSV file. So you click Next. Then it asks you, well, where was it? Here it is. The temp.csv, which is right there on my desktop. Importing. Bam. Import successfully completed. And here are all of your students. First name, last name, and student ID. So now when you start the class, your students will be able to put in their student ID, and you will be able to track them successfully. And that's how you import student roster from Engrade into Teacher Tools.